This is the Sports Hit List. By the fans, for the fans.
The Golden Boys of WWE. Now, for full context, I was in another wrestling group chat on the phone. Shout out to my guys, Anthony and Pat, guys I knew from when I used to work at the movie theater, and we were always wrestling buddies, and we still chatted up. And a lot of times we having conversations, and next thing you know, I turned into a segment. So this is what really happened. We were talking about, who are the Golden Boys in WWE as far as who gets the royal treatment, like the not gonna work for me, brother, kind of treatment. The faces of the franchise, the guys who were again the golden ones, because after Cody won his chip, there was some kind of people like sick and tired of Cody, like, oh, he's politicking again. He's acting like Hogan. He's acting like Austin. He's acting like Roman. All this treatment of there are certain guys who get preferential, like they get special treatment, right? Is that necessarily a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because again, we saw Hogan do it like he wasn't going to job to anybody, right? It kind of was hurting the business a little bit. But then again, maybe some of these guys who are your money makers have that cachet to say, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like I'm your top money maker. I'll drop the title when I feel it's necessary. Is that hurting the business? Like Roman had a 4-year run. He probably politicked himself to get that 4-year run, and then half of that 4-year run, he was a part-timer. So I'm just trying to understand, who are the Golden Boys, and do you agree with the Golden Boy treatment? And we know what that means.
I think, for me, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like, you earn your spot, and we know that there are rewards that come along with you earning a spot. For me, when you talk about Golden Boys, I think about Hogan in the 80s, into the 90s. I think about, after that, Bret, Shawn, Stone Cold, Rock. Maybe you want to put Triple H in there after, somewhere after that. Cena.
Taker wasn't a Golden Boy.
Taker was more than like anything.
No, he wasn't.
For the best of the
business. He was.
Let's not do that.
Let's
not do that.
For me,
he was best for business.
So before we do that, then we need to go. So then we have to develop what is criteria, because from my understanding, the Undertaker was jobbing to anybody and just having good story, and he was never a main eventer. As much as we wanted to put him in there, he was never in the main event picture. He was always the guy to do what he needed to get done. That's not a Golden Boy to me. That's not.
He's talked about this in his podcast. He's talked about, like, he's always been best for business kind of person.
Yeah. But
he's not a Golden Boy. No.
As much as Cena was a Golden Boy, he does the same thing Taker does.
Cena was more of a Golden Boy. Cena was more of a Golden Boy than Taker was, though. Like, I'm not doing that.
I don't think he's that.
He was never a main eventer.
His last, he was supposed to win against Roman. What he said when they pivoted and said, "Now we're gonna let Roman keep the belt." He said, "All right, cool." He jobbed too. So it's like, was he really a Golden Boy too?
I mean, again, we have to come up. What's the criteria for a Golden Boy? I guess.
What was the last Golden Boy then? Because for everything we've ever heard, Cena, like, we've never heard Cena's refuse to drop to anybody. We've never heard that about him. We've heard that about Stone Cold, right? We heard Stone Cold to be like, "Nah, I'm not dropping." Booker T.
But not only that, Stone Cold left. My man left. Like,
and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Stone Cold. Was he wrong for that? Absolutely. But he had a point. He said, "I'm not." At the height of his career, he was like, "I felt like that was," which I understood. He said, "I felt like that match should have been promoted better," which he was right. He went the wrong way about it, though.
Yeah, but he also said he didn't have a problem jobbing to Brock.
Yeah,
he just didn't
exactly.
like the fact that it was the last throw. So I think we have to establish.
It was a Raw match. It was a Raw match. He said it was better for a pay-per-view.
But I think we have to establish what are the rules of a Golden Boy. Like, a Golden Boy is special treatment. I
think it's that plus me being able to write my own script. Like, I can take my character wherever I want to take it. I can job to whoever I want to job to. I'm going to go over because I said I'm going over. I put butts in the seats, therefore I call the shots. And when you talk about is it a good thing or bad thing, I think the one time that we really saw that it was a bad thing was Bret refusing to drop to Shawn, right? And then Vince had to do what Vince did during that Survivor Series match. That's where it gets tricky, where you're like, yo, I'm absolutely not dropping this title tonight. I don't care what y'all say. And now I'm Vince. I got to do what I have to do. that's where you talk about good thing versus bad thing. That's an ultimate like bad thing that could happen when you talk about being one of the golden boys.
Well, you know what's funny? I'll say this about the screw job. There are people who speculate that was a work, but that's a conversation for another episode. Because I will say,
but no, Jay's absolutely right. That one, and I remember watching the Wrestling with Shadows documentary. That was crazy. And the other one is Hulk Hogan. He did it in WCW. He did it in WWF. He's
the definition of a true golden boy.
Let's be fair to
nobody.
Let's be fair to Hogan though. He dropped the title to I believe it was Andre that beat him shortly before WrestleMania 4, and then it was the controversy where Andre sold the belt to $1 Million Man, and that's why they had that tournament WrestleMania 4. And he did drop to Ultimate Warrior, who was supposed to be the next golden boy, but then we found out that he was just a complete nut job, and Warrior was on trajectory to be the golden boy. Warrior was skyrocketing.
He just couldn't handle it.
He just couldn't handle it, right? But Hogan, let's be fair to Hogan. Hogan did drop to Warrior in WrestleMania 6
because Hogan knew that Warrior, like those people that he lost to, he kind of was just like, yeah, you let them get their shot. Hogan is the same guy again. Not gonna work for me, brother. He also snitched on Jesse Ventura when he was trying to unionize.
100%. Yeah,
come on, man. Like this guy. But then he's just like had to protect the business. Like so I think as much as Hogan did drop to those two, and I guess that it was right for best for business for him to do so, he still found a way to screw Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9 by interjecting himself into the main event. He still found ways in WCW for the finger poke of doom to run stuff, and then he wants to turn it on.
He kills Sting's whole momentum. That whole story. That was classic. Like we was me as a fan of wrestling, watching, waiting for that Starrcade to happen, and the fact that she did it that way, it doesn't work for me, brother. And change the whole man. That's how I lost respect for him, man. I was
So I think part of that though is understanding like, is Cody considered a golden boy because he's in a situation where I guess because he's won 3 championships, his 3rd WWE championship in 3 years, and he also won the Royal Rumble back-to-back years, and there's a lot of things about what Cody really wants and him, doing the things that he does, which is again part of the conversation is, are we putting Cody Rhodes in that conversation now?
I'm not putting him in that conversation that much because if you really think about it, he kind of lobbied to lose to Drew McIntyre for Drew McIntyre to get the title. Only reason why he got it
for back, 2 months.
Yes, he did, but we don't. But that's not his fault. That's not.
We don't know the backstory.
That's creators' fault. We don't know the backstory to that. But he did lobby like, I think he should get the title. He did give up the title to Drew and dropped it to Drew. That's when they came up with that ending. The point is, at this moment, what is a better story? Or did everybody really want to see Drew versus Orton, or you want to see Drew versus Cody?
But Orton
versus,
they dropped the ball on.
They
dropped the ball on it.
No, they did, but that's creators' fault. That's not Cody's.
No, it's not Cody's fault. But I think it should have happened. It should have happened earlier. Like they still did Drew dirty.
But let's not get away from the conversation, Carl. The conversation is about Golden Boy. Cody.
Cody gave up.
We've never heard like behind the scenes that Cody is refusing to do this, or like I better win the Royal Rumble, or I better fly on first class flights with the top brass to this city. Like we've never heard that, even though we think like the travel thing, maybe it's a perk of being one of the top guys, right? We've always heard that, right? Like the top guys get to fly with Vince to whatever city next, while the others have to like rent the car and 4 big ass wrestlers in this little Toyota Prius, like together, like traveling to whatever next town that Raw or SmackDown is in. But like, we've never heard these bad things about Cody, to be fair. We could say what we want about his character being stale,
yes.
But we've not heard bad things. For all we hear, all we know, and that we hear from wrestlers, Cody is a very nice person behind the scenes. Like he helps the young talent, like. So I don't know if he's really considered a golden boy. Not quite yet, anyway.
I'm going to leave it at this, right? Why did he come back?
He wanted to be the champion.
Right. He wanted to finish the story.
I rest my case. He finished the story 3 times.
Again,
why did you come back? No, that's an exact reason to consider him a golden boy.
You're going to answer my question. What match would you rather have seen? Orton versus Drew or Cody versus Orton?
You could still have done Orton versus Cody without the title. Again, it's just the way we got there.
It makes it more compelling, though.
but it's to me, it's the way we got there. For him to drop the title
this
and
segment
he gets
with
it back.
Orton, this segment Orton tells the whole story. That's what it is. If you would have did it without the title, it would have made no sense. He needed a reason to do what he did to Cody.
All I'm saying is,
he wants
again,
the belt.
He came
That's
back.
The perfect story.
All I'm saying. Let me
ask something. There's two names that I think that may be on the like cusp of being golden boys that we haven't mentioned. One is Brock Lesnar, and the other one is Randy Orton. Randy Orton, 14-time champion. That's got to put you in the echelon of like, and you were the youngest at the time. You were the youngest WWE champion at whatever, how old he was back then. And Brock Lesnar, who's had this monster career, and you just talked about like Joey. You talked about like the rumor is that he said, "I'm not dropping until SummerSlam." That makes you a golden boy. If you once you can make that kind of, I'm writing my own script, I'm dropping who I want to drop to when I want to drop. That makes you the ultimate golden boy.
When it comes to Orton, I think Orton almost got himself fired on numerous occasions. And technically, if he gets another drug suspension, he should be fired because I think his 3 strikes are out. I believe he already has 2 on his record, right?
He's 14-time champ. He's not getting fired.
He didn't get fired.
But again, but by rules, that's what they said. That being said, though, Orton to the point where like he was so, I don't never consider him a golden boy. He was the rebel backstage early on in his career. Like the hey, nothing you can say. Randy Orton didn't listen. Like he was doing stupid things and getting himself like
that make you a golden boy? Sean was doing that back then. Sean was the ultimate like I don't care what y'all say backstage kind of like I'm gonna do what I want.
And me being Jay, you absolutely right. Me being my fault cut short. Me being an ultimate Sean fan, he did a lot of things and tricked with a lot of shit to get his people.
Yeah. Think about the click, right? If you think about the click, he didn't get in trouble for that. Like Triple H got all of the trouble behind that. Like Sean,
you know why though? Because again, when they explain it, the other 2 were leaving. Sean was the champ at the time, so he was already like there. He wasn't gonna get it. But again, I think this conversation is about what do we really consider. Everyone's definition is subjective to what a golden boy is. Because what Jay you consider a golden boy, I don't see it that way. And Joey, what you consider a golden boy, I don't see it that way. That's why, again, it's subjective to what we believe is a golden boy. Now, was Sean a golden boy to a point? Yeah, he kind of
absolutely.
Yeah, he was. The Undertaker, I'm not buying that one at all. I don't think he was a golden boy at all.
But more. All right, maybe Undertaker not a golden, but he definitely was like a Vince guy. Like, yo, whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna do it.
But
that's not a golden boy though.
That's
not a golden boy.
I just said that. I said it's not a golden boy.
Let's think about this though.
But he was a Vince guy. That's what I said. I said he probably wasn't a golden boy. He was a Vince guy.
Right. Okay. And to Joey's point, like, so the one thing we think about when we think about Taker is a streak. Like, how many of those match he was like, yo, I'm absolutely winning this match, right? Like, as opposed to like, hell no, I'm not dropping to this guy. Like, because if he was making those demands during his streak, that makes him a golden boy.
But then on the flip side, though, when they told him to drop it, though, there was no dispute on it.
Well, he was ready.
That's not. And you're right, Carl, because he was against it. He's like, I don't think you need it, but if that's what you want me to do, I'm gonna do it. That's why I say
exactly.
He's a guy.
That's what I'm saying. That's not.
I corrected myself.
But then let's just look at the track record of the people that he beat. I don't think there's anybody that was a possible candidate except for Sean those 2 times. Anybody else like or like he wasn't gonna drop like. But again, young Orton, he wasn't gonna drop to them though. That's what I'm saying. So, like,
the reason why I throw Orton in there, he had the gimmick. The whole legend killer thing was a good story. So if like you decided to drop it to him, it would have been understandable.
Diesel
was a good pick too.
Diesel
wasn't happening.
But you're talking about early on in like.
Diesel was on his way out at that point. Like by then, you knew kind of Diesel was like on the verge of his contract coming up, and you knew Diesel wasn't gonna win. Again, I don't think Undertaker, as Joey said, I don't put him in that category. I think Cena, I'd have to do more research to figure out if he was a backstage politicker, but he gets the golden boy cachet because of how many championships he won and being the face of the company. But again, he's earned that. I think there are guys who have earned that respect.
And I always think about Cena, 17 times won, right? But 17 times lost. So he's always been willing to give it up when he needed to give it up.
Yeah, Triple H was I think he was definitely a golden boy. He politicked his way backstage, his ways that people didn't like.
He married the boss's daughter.
And he married the boss's daughter. Yeah.
So he's the definition of a goddamn golden boy, if there's any.
Can I
And
quickly
look where he's at now.
Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In fact, do it now.